Hey, welcome back to the series that we've been doing on Evermore. I've been going track by track to see if I can find a deeper meaning within each of the songs. Today we're on the next track, which is titled Ivy, so let's just get started.
I was one to know I'd meet you where the spirit meets the bones in a faith forgotten land. In from the snow, your touch brought forth an incandescent glow, tarnished but so grand. And the old widow goes to the stone every day, but I don't, I just sit here and wait, grieving for the living.
Okay, this is definitely going to be a dictionary song, and I can't tell if I'm going to love that or hate it. So let's see. It says, How's one's to know I'd meet you where the spirit meets the bones in a faith forgotten land. In from the snow, your touch brought forth an incandescent glow, tarnished but so grand, and the old widow goes to the stone every day, but I don't, I just sit here and wait, grieving for the living. So my first thoughts about this is just someone that passed away, because when I hear spirit meets the bones, that kind of makes me think of someone passing and like their spirit going somewhere else while their body stays here. And then I also think of a cemetery with a faith forgotten land, but I could be wrong about that. But then what kind of ties it together is the old widow goes to the stone every day, but I don't. I just sit here and wait, grieving for the living. So it sounds like a widow is grieving their person in a more traditional way, while maybe this person is grieving for themselves. Like they're not sad about the person passing. Maybe they're wishing that they could be with that person. So they're kind of feeling bad for their own selves that they've gotten to live, even though the other person didn't. But I could be completely wrong about this one so far. I think we'll just have to keep listening.
Oh, goddamn, my pain fits in the palm of your freezing hand. Taking mine, but it's been promised to another. Oh, I can't stop you putting roots in my dreamland. My house of stone, your ivy grows, and now I'm covered in you.
Okay, I have to admit that I really like the flow of this song a lot. Even though I don't necessarily understand all the lyrics just yet, I really do like it. But the chorus says, "Oh goddamn, my pain fits in the palm of your freezing hand. Taken mine, but it's been promised to another. Oh, I can't stop you putting roots in my dreamland. My house of stone and your ivy grows, and now I'm covered in you." Okay, so I've legit been thinking about this for a couple minutes now, and taking mine, but it's been promised to another. That makes me think that someone has moved on or they're in an affair. And I don't know which pathway I want to take with this, but given the first chorus about someone passing away, maybe this is someone feeling guilty about moving on with someone else and saying that their hand has been promised to another because that person was married, she became a widow. So maybe she's just nervous about moving on, even though the person probably would want that, the person that passed away. And it's almost like she's fighting it, I guess, because I want to stop you from putting roots in my dreamland. My house of stone, your ivy grows, and now I'm covered in you. Your house of stone makes me think that you built up a bunch of walls around yourself and not willing to let anyone in, but somehow this person like weaseled in. And I say weaseled in, but I think of like ivy as in like weeds, and like those grow out of anywhere. Very persistent, they won't go away. It's very hard to get rid of them. So I think it's a very interesting way to describe a love interest by saying like, you know what? Despite all of my efforts, you still managed to get yourself into a place where I can't get rid of you, and now I'm just going to like accept it. And if I'm wrong about someone moving on after a death, because I said House of Stone is building up walls, I guess House of Stone could also be like a marriage, maybe. If that person's still alive and this is about more of an affair, you have a house of stone. It's like you built a house, you built a home, you built a life with someone else, and then you are letting someone in for the infidelity. I still think it's the first one, but who knows?
I wish to know the fatal flaw that makes you long to be magnificently cursed. He's in the room, your opal eyes are all I wish to see. He wants what's only yours. Oh, goddamn, my pain fits in the palm of your freezing hand. Taking mine, but it's been promised to another. Oh, I can't stop you putting roots in my dream.
Okay, wait, hold on. Before we keep going, I have a new idea. So let me read that verse that I just missed. It says, I wish to know the fatal flaw that makes you long to be magnificently cursed. He's in the room. Your opal eyes are all I wish to see. He wants what's only yours. Maybe it's a combination of the two stories that I said. I do think there's a widow, and going back to that beginning part of saying she's grieving for the living, it's maybe making a comparison between the narrator, I'm assuming it's Taylor Swift, and the widow. The widow is grieving a traditional love, a traditional marriage, and all of these things, and maybe Taylor Swift or the other person is also married and she's grieving for the living. She's grieving the loss of her marriage, or because maybe they're getting a divorce, or maybe she's grieving the loss of an actual love that's not her husband or partner or whatever. So maybe it's that, because I thought about that when that second verse happened about your opal eyes are all I wish to see. He's in the room. He wants what's only yours. So maybe that's her talking to her partner, but all she sees is the other person in the room, like the person that she's having an affair with. The thing that the affair person wants is her, and that's what is his, as in the husband's. I could be making up an insane little theory right now, but I do think that might be my story going forward. And I think it's kind of a cool way to describe why you're attracted to someone that you shouldn't. And maybe not because of their physical features, but because you're married. Because I think of that with the fatal flaw that makes you long to be magnificently cursed. Like, this person is maybe a good person, but they're cursed because you put yourself in a situation where you have a partner and you can't do that to that person. But on the surface, it's like, why am I attracted to this person? Like, I did everything right. I'm married, blah, blah, blah. But it just kind of makes me think of that. If you can't tell, I'm having a fun time with this one already. Okay, I'm not sure if it's noticeable, but I have to stop for a second. But let's continue.
Clover blooms in the fields, spring breaks loose, time is near. What would he do if he found us out? Crescent moon, coast is clear, spring breaks loose, but so does fear. He's gonna burn this house to the ground. House want to know, I'd live and die for moments that we stole, unbegged and borrowed time. So tell me to run, or dare to sit and watch what will become, and drink my husband's wine.
Okay, another verse that had a lot going on in it. It says, Clover blooms in the fields, spring breaks loose, time is near. What would he do if he found us out? Crescent moon, coast is clear, spring breaks loose, but so does fear. He's gonna burn this house to the ground. House wants to know, I'd live and die for moments that we stole. Begged and borrowed time, so tell me to run, and dare to sit and watch what will become, and drink my husband's wine. So the first part kind of makes me think of time passing. The clover blooms in the fields. That's like spring, then spring breaks loose, so time is passing, and they're still in this affair relationship. Then she's starting to question of what the husband will do when he finds out. He's gonna burn this house to the ground. That kind of makes me think of the marriage that I kind of said. Like, he's gonna divorce her. There's gonna be repercussions of the relationship getting out, which I kind of think would be a good thing at this point, because like, if she wants to pursue the relationship with the other person, it kind of seems like, yeah, let's burn this house down. Let's get the divorce. It's tough, but like, honestly, that seems like the best course of action, really. But then it says, I'd live and die for moments that we stole on begged and borrowed time. I think those are some of my favorite lyrics so far, because I live and die for moments that we stole. That means that everything that's happening in the affair relationship means a lot to her, and she's holding those close to herself because it's maybe something that she's been wanting for a long time. And then begged and borrowed time is like almost wasting the other people's time, like her husband's and maybe the affair's time. It's like, until they know exactly what they want to do with this relationship, they're begged on borrowed time. It's not time that they've had to have a free and open relationship. They're doing everything in secret. So I think that's a really cool way of putting that. And then the best part was, so tell me to run, or dare to sit and watch what will become, and drink my husband's wine. That kind of makes me think that the affair person is the person that is kind of like putting stops to the relationship, because it sounds like she's basically saying it's now or never. It's like, I will break off my marriage and do all these things, but if you're not going to tell me to run and do these things, we're not going to keep it this way forever. We can't just be a secret forever. And she's saying that if you don't tell me to do that, then you're going to just have to watch me move on and try to fix my relationship with my husband. I'll be drinking his wine, and like, we'll just go back to normal, and I'll pretend that you never existed. But now I'm excited to see where this is going to go.
Oh, goddamn, my pain fits in the palm of your freezing hand, taking my
Okay, let's read that bridge. It says, "So yeah, it's a fire. It's a goddamn blaze in the dark, and you started it. You started it, so yeah, it's a war. It's the goddamn fight of my life, and you started it." She's already mentioned fire once before about the relationship burning down. That's what I interpreted it as. And she's kind of saying that the affair person is like the catalyst for it, is because they started that fire, they started the passion, they started the relationship, and now it's transcended into something that she has to deal with. Because I mentioned that a couple seconds ago about letting the house burning down, but she's saying that it's a war, it's the goddamn fight of her life. She has so many things that she has to do because she's married. So it's having to get the divorce, it's having to tell her husband, it's having to deal with everyone's perception of like, why would she do something like that? It comes with all of the scrutiny that I feel like she's facing, while the other person really doesn't have anything other than, I have a new girlfriend. Like, like he doesn't really have any of those repercussions of this relationship. Yes, some people might be disappointed, but overall, she's fighting for her current life. Her whole life is essentially blowing up. And I feel like it's a really cool way of saying that.
Oh, I can't stop you putting roots in my dreamland. My house of stone, your ivy grows, and now I'm covered in
All right, so that was the end of Ivy, and I might be brave to say this, but this might have been my favorite song from Evermore. I absolutely enjoyed this song. It's so weird because I can not relate to the song in the slightest bit, but something about this song, I guess it's the story I'm trying to decode. The production on it is amazing. I don't know, I just really like this song, but tell me what you think of the song. Tell me if you have any perspective. Tell me if you have any story elements that maybe I missed. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.